Tell me, if P and Q are sisters, A and B are brothers, P's daughter is A's sister, how is Q related to B? The options are A aunt, B mother, C uncle or D grandmother. Such type of questions are usually asked in many of the competitive exams under the heading of verbal reasoning. That is the reason we have taken this topic today, and we are going to learn blood relations. Hello and welcome to MATHSPEDIA, a math learning hub, and I am Meena, your math guide. Yes, we will learn today blood relations. There are two types of blood relations. Number one, relations by birth that we all are familiar with. Number two, relations in law, relations that we have after a marriage, right? So relations by birth, let's see first. As you can see, there is a flow chart before you and there are two couples at the top. Number one is Mr. Lakshman Singh and Mrs. Devki Singh, and the other couple is Mr. Balram Chauhan and Mrs. Revati Chauhan. If we go from top to bottom, we can see that they both have 3 children each, right? Rahul, Purvi, Radha are children of Mr. and Mrs. Singh, whereas Madhav, Mohan and Kishori are children of Mr. and Mrs. Chauhan. Radha and Madhav get married and they have 2 children, Riddhi and Mayank. So let's see the relations from top to bottom. Now, as you know that Mr. Lakshman Singh and Mrs. Devki Singh are father and mother of Rahul, Purvi and Radha respectively. Similarly, Mr. Balram Chauhan and Mrs. Revati Chauhan are father and mother of Madhav, Mohan and Kishori respectively. Right. And here Radha is mother of Riddhi and Mayank and Madhav is father of Riddhi and Mayank. If you see, Purvi is maternal aunt of Riddhi and Mayank and Rahul is maternal uncle of Riddhi and Mayank, whereas Mohan is paternal uncle of Riddhi and Mayank and Kishori is paternal aunt of Riddhi and Mayank. See, relations from the father's side are called paternal and relations from the mother's side are called maternal. So, Mr. and Mrs. Singh are maternal grandparents of Riddhi and Mayank, whereas Mr. and Mrs. Chauhan are paternal grandparents of Riddhi and Mayank. So, Mr. Lakshman Singh is grandfather of both the kids and Mrs. Devki Singh is grandmother of both the kids, but maternal. Whereas Mr. Balram Chauhan is paternal grandfather of Riddhi and Mayank and Mrs. Revati Chauhan is paternal grandmother of Riddhi and Mayank. And if Purvi gets married, her husband will be an uncle to these 2 kids. And if Rahul gets married, wife will be aunt of Riddhi and Mayank, right? Now, Mohan is paternal uncle of Riddhi and Mayank and Kishori is paternal aunt of Riddhi and Mayank. When they get married, Mohan's wife will be aunt for both of them and Kishori's husband will be uncle for both of them. One more thing you have to see that when they will have children, like Kishori's children will be Riddhi and Mayank's cousin, or say Riddhi and Mayank will be cousins of Kishori's children. Similarly, Mohan's children will be cousins for both of them and Purvi's children also will be cousins of Riddhi and Mayank and Rahul's children too will be cousins of Riddhi and Mayank, right? Now, if we go from bottom to top, we see that Riddhi is daughter of Radha and Madhav, Mayank is son of Radha and Madhav. Similarly, Riddhi is niece of Mohan, Kishori, Purvi and Rahul and Mayank is nephew of Mohan, Kishori, Purvi and Rahul. They are uncle aunt, so they are niece and nephews, right? Uncle aunt, niece and nephews. Now, they both are paternal grandparents and these are maternal grandparents of children. So, we can say that Riddhi is a granddaughter of Mr. Lakshman Singh and Mrs. Devki Singh, same way of Mr. Balram Chauhan and Mrs. Revati Chauhan. Mayank is a grandson of Mr. Balram Chauhan and Revati Chauhan, and of Mr. Lakshman Singh and Mrs. Devki Singh, right? So this way when you go, you say they are grandparents, and this way when you are going, you say they are grandchildren. This way mother, father, and this way children. Uncle, aunt, and their children will be cousins, and these both are niece and nephew of these 4 people: Rahul, Purvi, Mohan and Kishori. Clear? Next, let's say relations in law. We have the same flow chart. Radha has parents Lakshman Singh and Devki Singh. Madhav has parents Balram Chauhan and Revati Chauhan, right? So they are parents of these 3 kids and they are parents of these 3 kids. You know that Radha and Madhav, they got married. After marriage, Mr. Balram Chauhan and Mrs. Revati Chauhan are in-laws. That means father-in-law and mother-in-law of Radha. And similarly, Mr. Lakshman Singh and Mrs. Devki Singh are father-in-law and mother-in-law of Madhav. These are their real parents and these are in-law. So father-in-law, mother-in-law for Madhav, father-in-law, mother-in-law for Radha. Now, similarly, you can say that Radha is a daughter-in-law for these 2 and Madhav is son-in-law for these 2. These are father, mother-in-law for Madhav and Madhav is son-in-law for them. Balram Chauhan and Revati Chauhan is father-in-law and mother-in-law for Radha. So Radha is daughter-in-law for both of them. Next relation, Radha is sister to them. But how? In-law. So you can say Radha is Mohan's sister-in-law and also Kishori's sister-in-law. Similarly, Kishori is sister-in-law of Radha and Mohan is brother-in-law of Radha. And here Madhav is brother-in-law of Purvi and Rahul. And Rahul also is brother-in-law of Madhav and Purvi is sister-in-law of Madhav. Clear? So they are again related as brother and sister but in-law. Brother-in-law for Madhav, sister-in-law for Madhav, and Madhav is brother-in-law for both of them. And here Radha is sister-in-law for both of them and he is brother-in-law for Radha and she is sister-in-law for Radha. Mohan's wife will be again sister-in-law for her and her husband will be brother-in-law for Radha, right? Similarly, Purvi's husband will be brother-in-law for Madhav and Rahul's wife will be sister-in-law for Madhav. So these are the relations in law, like parents will be in-laws for Madhav, these parents will be in-laws for Radha. Similarly, she will be daughter-in-law for them and he will be son-in-law for them, right? Let's see some questions. As we had already seen this question in the beginning, let's solve it. P and Q are sisters, A and B are brothers, P's daughter is A's sister. How is Q related to B? We are given the options aunt, mother, uncle or grandmother. Whenever you solve such questions, I would request you to draw a rough diagram to get a clear idea so that you will have least chances to make mistakes, right? Here if you see, I have already done one. P, Q sisters, here A and B are brothers. Now says P's daughter is A's sister. A has a sister here, right? This girl, but she is daughter of P. If this girl's mother is P, so you can say that P is mother of A and B also. That means they are their sons, right? Now, since Q is sister of P, so she will be aunt for all the 3 kids. So, the relation of Q and B will be of aunt and nephew. So, here nephew is not given. So, Q is related to B how? Aunt. So, Q is aunt of B. So, right answer is aunt. Let's see one more question. D is A's son, C is the mother of P and wife of D. How is A related to C? Options are uncle, father-in-law, father or none of these. Let's have a diagram. D is son of A, right? D is A's son, so D son A. Now this A can be either father or mother, that is not mentioned to us, right? So we consider any of them, it can be father or mother. So D is son of A, then says C is mother of P and wife of D. Here is C, she is wife of D and also mother of P. Now you have to find the relation between A and C, right? Now since D is son of A, that means A is either mother or father of D. So this A will be in-law for C. So it will be either father-in-law or mother-in-law for C. Since here there is no mother-in-law given to us, we are given only father-in-law. So we consider this A as father of D. So that way A is father-in-law of C. So right answer is B, father-in-law. I hope this is clear to you. And here I have given the link for practice worksheet in the description box. Please try to solve it. Till then, bye-bye, take care. Thank you for watching. Do like and share the video and subscribe the channel.